Good morning and welcome to this joint podcast of Chakra News and Gana Shot. As usual on this weekend, Sandeep Punithan and I are going to have a talk on how the Gulf War has escalated. But alongside that, we are also going to talk about Pakistan because what's happening in Pakistan is sort of unprecedented. And Pakistan is going into one of its familiar, problems. So we're going to discuss this today. Show is going to be about two events: the Gulf War and its escalation and impact on India, and then the larger question of Pakistan: where is it going? Is it going to disintegrate? Will it come out? And everything. And we're going to have a very interesting discussion with this. Sandeep, I'm looking forward to today's discussion, and over to you.
Thank you, General Shankar. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you may be. Back to this joint podcast, Gunner Shot and Chakra News. As General Shankar mentioned, we are talking about the escalating West Asia war. You saw a very, very interesting thing that happened just last Sunday when Ukraine attacked an Iranian warship, Iranian merchant ship close to Russian waters in the Caspian Sea. This is the first time that Ukraine has struck an Iranian target. It has attacked installations on the Caspian Sea in 2025, I believe. But this is the first time they have directly hit an Iranian vessel on the Caspian. And what we are going to talk about is, of course, the intersecting arc of both conflicts. The West Asia conflict, which is raging as of now, and of course, the Russia-Ukraine war that's been on for 4 years and entering a fifth year now. So it's an unprecedented situation. I don't think any time in the world we've seen two conflicts of this nature expanding. And of course, we have our friendly neighbor to the west that has jumped in as a mediator, and he's got problems of his own. And that's, of course, we'll talk about the second half of our discussion today, as General Shankar mentioned. But the first, I think we should kind of frame what's going on right now. It's if you're trying to make sense of the kind of attacks. I mean, I have actually had to take a pen and paper and write down what's going on. So the last thing, it began with, of course, the 8th April is when the 2-week temporary ceasefire was announced by the United States. On 21st, the ceasefire was extended. 17th June, you had the Islamabad Memorandum, so-called Islamabad Memorandum that was signed, which would lead to a 60-day framework for peace talks. But then last month in July, that ceasefire abruptly collapsed and the US began an intense campaign of 13 days bombarding Iran. Now, did Iran collapse? Did it stop doing what it was doing in the Strait of Hormuz? No. It continued to escalate horizontally. And now what you have is the Houthis have started attacking Saudi Arabian oil facilities. And what happened a few days back is a very, very interesting development in this war. On Wednesday, you saw for the first time a ship being attacked near the Suez Canal. Now, the impact of that is something that we will discuss, because what that shows is, you look at the Arabian Peninsula, it's about 3 million square kilometers. It's roughly the size of India. It has 3 choke points. It has the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran directly controls. It has the Bab el-Mandab in the Red Sea, which it controls through its proxies, the Houthis. And of course, you have the Suez Canal, which is, of course, Egyptian-controlled, Egyptian territory. But on Wednesday, Iran demonstrated through that long-range strike that it has the ability to target vessels entering or exiting the Suez Canal. This is so important. This is a tectonic shift, because what the Iranians are signaling is that they have the entire Arabian Peninsula in a bag. And this is what I've been warning from the beginning. We've had conversations about it, General Shankar, the fact that there are only 7 choke points in the world. Apart from the 3, you have the Malacca Straits, you have the Bosphorus Straits, there are the Panama Canal, the straits at between Sweden and Europe. Those straits are just 7. And Iran today is directly or indirectly controlling 3 of the 7 straits through which 80% of global shipping moves through. The numbers everyone knows: 20% of gas, one third of all oil through the Strait of Hormuz, 12% through the Bab el Mandab and the Suez Canal. So we are in a very, very interesting situation. And of course, we're going to talk about what it means for India, given the fact that oil prices, General Shankar, slowly climbing up. They're inching towards the $100 mark again. I checked; it's about Brent is about 90.25 this morning. So that's a cause of worry for us because we've been insulated. I think we all heaved a collective sigh of relief on the 17th of June, and we thought US has raised mission accomplished banner, and now we'll go back. But we didn't realize. But I think you said that this was only a pause between the fighting, right? And it would resume soon. So what exactly is going on, Jan Shankar? You think that the Russia-Ukraine war is going to merge with the West Asia war? The Ukrainians would like that very much.
Look, let's deconstruct this whole story before we get into that merger of
Right.
wars which is taking place. And when you deconstruct what's happening in the Middle East, the outflow will go to Ukraine automatically. Okay, like you rightly said, that MOU collapsed and Trump has gone on a 13-day mission of bombing the hell out of Iran. What is why is he doing it? Because this is a thing which is perplexing me. What did he get out of this? What does he want from the Iranians? That is an open-ended question. Okay, you can keep hitting them. And one look at it, you see that he's run out of military targets. He can now only go into, I mean, which targets I don't know. One
Civilian
doesn't.
targets. Yeah.
We don't know what targets are being hit also now. Unlike
Right.
before, they used to say what targets are being hit. Now they don't. We don't know. They're hitting some bridges. They're hitting some railway lines. They're hitting some ports. We don't know what they are. They've hit some in the north, in the Caspian area, on the and some all along the south. Fine, but why is he doing it? I mean, that's the question. The way I look at it, I think there's a larger issue here. USA, if you see, has always been the global guarantor of
Yeah.
trade. I won't say peace, trade. And it has virtually dominated all the choke points. It's got its
Yes.
military, 118 military bases spread over everywhere. Uh, the sobriquet of the global policeman and things like that. Right? Now, if that thing goes, the American hegemony, dominance, superpower status, everything goes. It just shows that America is a useless power.
Right. Right.
And now you're looking at, like you said, if three of these choke points
Hmm.
cannot be controlled by America, one now it's okay, two is okay, but if that happens, America is at huge loss of face. And what we are seeing is America is not able to do it.
Hmm.
Literally, there's no guarantee. It's not able to give guarantee of peace to the Gulf people, whom where it is. After all, they have established bases there. Why has America, USA established bases in the Gulf? All these countries to protect them, and that protection is not there. It has got bases all over there to protect the energy flows. That's why people are paying them for it. Right? That's not happening. Okay, and the war was set out by, say, fundamentally look at it. It has now filtered down to three issues. One is the nuclear issue. Second is regime change in Iran, and the third is the control of the Strait of Hormuz. All three are unachieved, and you are just expending. And now reports are coming. USA is running short of ammunition and things like that. It's at the risk. Its expenditure is not being matched by its production. These are the things.
Right.
So there is a problem for USA that it is facing, and its reputation as a global superpower is at stake. If that goes, there's going to be a huge issue all over the world. We should not have any doubts about it. And it has
Yeah.
not been able to do anything about either the nuclear issue or the regime. The regime, in fact, in Iran has become more tougher,
Hardline. Yes.
hard
Absolutely.
line.
No, and
No,
you
it's
know
not broken.
that's a
It's become
yeah.
tougher.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Resilient. It's become more resilient.
more resilient, and
Right.
there's no news of where the nuclear material is, and
Right.
Strait of Hormuz is definitely not in its full control.
Yeah.
Okay. After 6 months, if this is your result, you are a national failure.
You're a power in decline. You're a
Decline.
global
No,
power in
you're in
decline.
power, not in decline. You're a power in failure. Let's be very
In
clear
failure.
about it.
Right.
Okay, it's this power is failing.
Yes.
So you see that, well, that is the US part. So it has to continue, it has to regain all this. Now let's look at the Iranian way of looking at it.
Right.
I mean, you have to look at Iran also. What is Iran doing? Iran knows, well, it's not economically sound, it's teetering,
Yeah.
it's bad, in a bad shape, but Iran has done enough. See, unlike the Venezuelan economy, or for that matter, many other economies, Iran's economy is quite diversified.
Right.
It's into industry, it's got a, some kind of everything, and it's exporting drones to Russia and all that, and it's got friends in China and Russia. So it's a little more diversified than one originally thought. Even that oil trade is on. There's an informal trade with its neighbors, so that their economy has been resilient. So that economy is might be poor, it might be teetering, but it is not broken.
Right.
So now that is the base from which Iran is operating. You have a hardline regime, which has become harder after Al Khamenei has gone off.
Yeah.
He had a huge stockpile of missiles and rockets and drones, which none of us knew about. We had no clue about it because
Yeah. The
last
numbers.
year,
And yeah. Exactly.
right? Last year, when those bombs were dropped at Fordo and Natanz and Isfahan and all, we thought Iran was finished. Right? It was weak. Its proxies had gone and everything. But and it that was the premise on which we started this war, or rather, Israel and USA started this war. That Iran is weak. Now it emerges Iran was not so weak, right? Now what are they doing? They did one first stage of escalation horizontally was they hit the
Right.
Gulf states,
Yes.
Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait,
All the GCC countries. Yeah.
all the GCC. Now they have gone the second stage of horizontal escalation.
Yeah.
They're hitting Egypt. They've started off with Yemen. They're looking at even Iraq. Iraq has come into the fray. Okay. And, let me show you this map, which I've been showing for the past 3 days. So, right, like you rightly said, so they've activated all around, and they're
Right.
choking the three major choke points out here. They got the capability, they're doing it.
Right.
They might be
And
paying a cost.
General Shankar, if I may quickly add, the point that you made is really important earlier on. You said that of the 7 global choke points, the United States used to dominate all 7, and they
All
were a
of them.
guarantor of global economic
Yeah.
security. And the fact that the 7 choke points are through where 80% of the global trade flows through, and the US was a guarantor of that. Free and navigation, open and free navigation. The point is that Iran has now disrupted that by attacking 3 of those 7 choke
All
points, and
three. Yeah.
that's where the problem is now for the US.
Yeah.
And they targeted
So
a US vessel off Egypt. I didn't add that.
yes.
It was a US
Yeah.
gas
Oh,
ship that was
that is
attacked.
detail.
Yeah,
Let's put it, that's detail that's happening. But Iran is sustaining this. How is Iran sustaining this effort? Clearly, China is helping it to some degree,
you think
and
they're giving them
US is
targeting data?
whatever they might be giving targeting data. They might be giving space, everything. Targeting data is the least of the thing. They're definitely giving, right. So China is supporting them, and Russia is supporting them. Okay, and so without doubt, the Russian angle has come in. Now Russia will fight a proxy war against USA, just the way USA has been fighting a proxy war against Ukraine. So it's
Right,
a tit for tat thing going on. And China has joined in without any doubt. China is in the game in this gray zone. It's not a gray zone war, it's a proxy war. As
proxy war,
simple as
right?
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, all this is happening. So, this is Iran. And Iran seems to have enough missiles and rockets and drones to continue whatever it's doing.
Yeah.
And it is prepared to pay a cost. And its regime is hard enough not to fall. So, it will continue, right? Iran the way Iran looks at it, it's in the driver's seat. Okay. Now, let's get to the Arabian Peninsula itself. Now, there are issues here.
Hmm.
Uh, the Gulf states are precariously poised because if oil doesn't go out, their economies collapse.
Yeah, and in Qatar's case, if gas doesn't go out, they'll collapse because
Collapse,
they won't be able to
right?
meet any of their
Yeah, their
contracts.
monarchies and everything, they're
Yeah,
under
yeah,
pump. And that is being threatened by Iran. They tried getting across doing a MOU with Iran. Iran is not relenting. Iran is very clear that we are going to dominate this area.
right.
And so all these states, whether it's Saudis or the Qataris or the Yemenis, I mean not the Yemenis, the Kuwaits, everyone, Bahrain, everyone. Now they don't have a choice but to get back to USA.
Yeah,
They have to. So USA is not going to run away. Though ideally they would not like USA
hmm.
anywhere around.
Yeah.
But Iranian behavior is where it is, and they're not going to go away. So,
So it's a dilemma for the Gulf states, the GCC monarchies, because on the one hand they are hosting US bases, which is why Iran is hitting them. On the other, they can't get the Americans out because the Iranians are so reluctant to cut a deal with
yeah,
them. They've cut deals with them, but the Iranians continue to hit them.
yeah. So they can't do anything but continue. So this has gone into some kind of a endless story. It's
Right.
a each angle feeding the other, and it's
Yes.
in a triangle which is a closing triangle, right? You can't break this triangle. Okay. Now the issue is the person who can break this triangle is actually Iran, really speaking,
Right.
because they can still get good terms out of this whole story, but for some strange reason they're not doing it.
They're not. They're
So
very tough negotiators. I mean, if you look at their stance, they're not willing to budge on any of their thing. And that
look,
MOU is literally a virtual instrument of surrender, if you ask me.
yeah, no,
They've
but
just
they're
ceded
not.
so much of ground. Yeah.
But the problem with Iran, where Iran is that they're not even prepared to take their victory.
Right.
Look, whether you like it or not, that MOU current situation all tells you that Iran is in a victorious position. It can walk away with
Yes.
the victory.
Yes.
But they are converting that victory into defeat for whatever reason.
You mean the longer this continues, the it will end in an Iranian defeat.
Iranian defeat. Because is defeating itself now. Are they
Right.
going to defeat their own system?
Right.
Okay. Uh, I mean, that's the question. That's an open-ended question. Okay. Now here comes the thing. Now by doing all this, now that okay, let me also touch on the Chinese equation.
Right.
What has come out here is that China has lost ground in the Middle East completely.
Yes. It's out. It's out of the Middle East, wherever, or
It's
West Asia,
probably
as they
out of the
call it.
Middle East. It's
Yeah.
taken a huge beating because what has come out is China doesn't have the capability to come here and get involved militarily. If it
Right.
cannot get involved militarily in this area, it's not a superpower. First point.
Right. Right.
It has no projection capability, nothing. Now, yeah, the Gulf states are reassessing. Why should I go with China, which never helped me? It's okay to
Yes.
say BRI and all that, but China never
Yeah.
helped me. So they have a
Yeah.
question mark. Iran also would be doing the same thing. Iran also will say, okay, I've gone with China. I will take what I want out of China, but I can't depend on China because China
Yeah.
is not been China is tending to itself rather than
Yeah.
to right.
But
So
General Shankar, when have the Chinese, post the Korean War, when have the Chinese really interfered on anyone's behalf? I think the only time they did it was 79, when they moved into Cambodia, into Vietnam, at Cambodia's thing, because they were supporting Pol Pot. And I think the CIA also had a hand in pushing them. The Americans said, go into Vietnam, teach them a lesson. And, a lot of
yeah,
intel
well,
support went in there. Yeah. But
yeah,
since
but
then, they've been very inward looking, the Chinese.
look, the point is this. I agree they were inward looking. I mean, that is one part of the history. But look, they have also been saying we are the global guardians. We want a Sino-centric world order.
Yes,
Our
yes.
army is expanding. We are going to have the most modern army. By 2027, Xi Jinping says, I'll have the most modern army. All that.
Right, right.
So, what their behavior here and their action here doesn't support that story. So China has to. We have to start looking at China differently. China is not the military giant it has been made out. It is just
Right.
another thing. It might have great numbers, but those numbers have no value, right?
Yes.
People say it has got the greatest navy, but that navy, even one warship has not come here.
In terms
Okay,
of
so
numbers, yeah, they have a 300 ship navy and all that,
yeah,
but
but
you're
there's a
right.
logic to that
Nothing else.
300 ship navy. People
Yeah.
don't analyze it. That logic is that they need that small vessels to dominate South China Sea, not for
Yeah.
coming out. So we leave. So China is now one hand which is shown out is China. It's
Yeah.
gone.
It's been called out. The
It's
Chinese
been
bluff has
called
been
out.
called out, you
Okay.
see.
Now Russia is definitely giving stuff to
Iran.
Iran,
Yeah.
and that Caspian Sea route is the thing.
It's the
I mean, many people who
lifeline
don't
between
understand. Yeah,
Russia and Iran.
let me explain this. See, this is the Caspian Sea. This is Russia. This is
Yeah.
Ukraine, right? And this is Iran. Iran has a Caspian shore, and here, and Caspian Sea is surrounded only by 7 countries.
Yeah.
Only these, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and
Five
Uzbek,
countries. It's surrounded by five.
yeah, Azerbaijan, Russia,
Yeah.
Kazakhstan, and all these. That's it. So now only these countries have a lien on the Caspian Sea.
Yeah.
But this route is well known to Ukraine. For
Yes.
Ukraine, any Russian thing towards Iran is lucrative targets because it's open. I mean,
Yeah.
undefended, and
Yes.
that's why they've hit. Look at the Ukrainian point of view because Russia is already, and Russia needs to continue this trade to help Iran to get their stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
their exports, their oil, everything. So there's a interdependence between Russia and Iran,
Yeah.
and that interdependence Ukraine wants to break. Of
Right.
course, USA also is there in the fray. After all, 2 days back, Zelensky went and met Trump. I'm sure they would have said, okay, sort of,
Right.
well, sever the Caspian route.
Yeah.
And a few days back, USA also bombed out a few train links which go from Iran
Iran
into
to the Caspian.
Eurasia.
Eurasia.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is also there. So you see this overlapping happening. Now the point is this: today you are seeing this fight here has
Yeah.
gone to the Mediterranean in some manner,
Yes.
right? Of course, all three choke points are there, and
Right.
he's also the thing has gone to the Caspian Sea.
So
If it
this is
has
the
gone to the
first war in the
Caspian Sea,
21st century where so many oceans, I mean, Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea, Red Sea, Persian Gulf,
yeah,
Mediterranean Sea,
all
Black
these
Sea,
seas have come into
Caspian Sea,
action.
7 seas are, one ocean and 6 seas are,
Yeah,
in conflict
and
zones.
sooner or later there will be some action in the Black Sea also. It's a matter of
Right,
time. Okay, so the lines between what's happening in Ukraine, Russia, and Iran, USA are blurring.
right,
So that is where it is. So what will happen? Uh, Everything will go up. All costs will go up.
right.
All oil, everything will go up. And do you think this will come to a closure? It will not come to a closure.
It will just
I
continue. It will
don't.
simmer as a frozen conflict. It will just continue with spurts, periodic spurts, and
Yes, periodic spurts, and it will continue. And so what will happen is, okay, oil prices go up. People will say,
right,
let's get it down, and again
right,
it will restart. Again it will go up. So you will see this oil story going between $80 to $90 a barrel, which is
right,
sustainable, right? And then you will keep hitting them, and you'll keep
right.
trying all things, and then there'll be some incremental action. We have not discussed Israel, which will come in.
Yeah.
Israel is
So I have
also
a
there.
question quickly before you go to Israel, General Shankar. Now, you've clearly identified Iran as the hinge around which these two wars are basically intersecting, right? You have the Russia-Ukraine war, and you have Iran-US, and of course Israel war. And Iran is the intersecting point. The Caspian is the intersection point between the two, because, like, I think the Biden administration is the one that first said that Iran was supplying Shahid drones and ballistic missiles to the Russian Federation via the Caspian. And it's interesting that Russia's Alabuga plant in Tatarstan is located on a river that empties into the Caspian Sea, thereby, indicating that merchant ships could travel up the Caspian from the Iranian ports and go into Russian territory, and from there it would be shipped inwards into Tatarstan and the plant at Alabuga. So that was the first example of this thing. My question is, today Iran has, I mean, it strongly protested the Ukrainian strike on that Iranian vessel near Russian waters. They've not responded yet. I think Arakchi asked for compensation, right? My question is that what will it take for a formal merger of these two conflicts? Will it be an Iranian retaliatory strike on Ukraine? Firstly, will the Iranians strike? That's a big question. Will they strike in a way that will drag Ukraine into this conflict? Will they want that, firstly? The second thing is that what are the other factors that you think could lead to a formal thing where the United States says that now we are formally at war with the Russian Federation? I mean, obviously they've not come to that, but that would be catastrophic if that happens. But what would be the trigger point for this to happen?
I think we will see this operating in the gray zone only.
Okay, it
This
won't
merger will
go
be
out
in the
into full
gray
scale.
zone.
Gray zone
They'll
merger.
never
Okay,
come out in the open. But there
right.
is, I will put it this way. Today, Iran, to expand it to the Caspian and on to Ukraine, hitting targets there, is probably the third stage of escalation. We are in the second stage of horizontal escalation. Why? You see, it's just not those strikes which happened near Egypt and all,
Yeah,
but what's happening in Iraq. Again, you look at this map and little story. It's like the Iraq has about 20 militias, more than
yeah,
that, and
yeah.
about 2.5 lakh guys who are loafing around with arms there, all
Right.
kinds, and many of
Militias,
them
right.
are backed by Iran. Now
Yes,
they're up against the regular Iraqi government and
yeah.
USA. Now the thing is this: USA is trying. Originally, Iraq oil was coming through the Gulf.
Gulf, yeah.
Okay. Now Iraq and Kuwait oil, people are saying we'll take it through Syria. The old pipeline is being
That's right. And
restarted.
which is why everyone is quoting Shara. Shara is suddenly
Uh-huh.
the poster
He's
boy.
become
Everybody is
then,
going and meeting
yeah,
him.
and then that they are looking at taking it through Jordan.
Yes,
So Jordan is being attacked. So now the point is this: what is this entire thing? What is coming out is that the whole story is about oil. Iran wants to ensure that oil doesn't leave this area. If oil doesn't
right,
leave this area, the rates will go up. And
right.
he's got, look, for Iran, it's a low cost war. He is
Yeah,
prepared to take all the beating. He is not
yeah,
bothered, and he has
right.
to fire 3 or 4 missiles or
Yeah.
drones to do the damage.
So
Right?
it's basically an optimal conflict for him, where he uses the
Yeah, it's a
optimum
completely
resources.
optimal asymmetric conflict for him.
Asymmetric conflict. Yeah. एक ड्रोन
Okay?
मारो, एक मिसाइल फेंको, एक
Bas.
ये करो.
Yeah, and the fact that Houthis have been activated here,
Yeah,
and they are now into Saudi Arabia. Saudis have come into the fray now. Saudis also
right,
acting. They are also active today. They have
right.
formed a 20-member or 30-member coalition who will fight the
Coalition.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and in which will come to Pakistan. Pakistan is part of this deal, right?
Yes.
And there's going to be a civil war in Yemen, the way I look at it.
You mean it will re-erupt the civil war
It'll
that's already?
re-erupt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if this re-erupts, then the chances of Babal Mandap closing down become very high.
Right. And Saudi
Okay.
is so critically dependent on the Red Sea because they were
Yes.
untouched by this 5-month thing. Their east-west pipeline was taking all their oil and offloading it at Yanbu, and from
Yeah.
Yanbu they were shipping it via the Bab el Mandab.
Yeah.
The Houthis basically hit the Bab el Mandab, so they said, okay, we will now go through the Suez, and now you have the strike at the Suez. So the Iranians are basically
Suez.
telling them, boss, you have no way to go, and that's why I've called this the Iranian strategy. I've called it the Persian engulf strategy.
Yeah.
You have the
Now
Persian
what
Gulf
has
and you
happened?
have the Persian engulf.
Yeah. Now what you have seen is what you're seeing is today the complete lot of the Arabian Peninsula is at war.
Yes.
Iraq is at war. Right? It's part of the
They
story.
killed 20 Iraqis, the Saudi strikes, the Popular Mobilization Front,
Front. Yeah,
and
that's
they are
the
up in arms.
population. the Popular Mobilization Front itself is about 30, 40 organizations.
Yeah.
And some of these are Kataib Hezbollah and all are
Kataib
over
Hezbollah, that's right.
10,000
Yeah.
fighters,
All Iranian proxies. Yeah.
all Iranian proxies. See, the point is that Iran today is fighting with its proxies also. The proxies have come back.
Yes.
The proxies were supposed to be dead, isn't it? The
Yeah.
proxies had gone off.
Yeah.
Now they're back. The
They have,
Houthis are active. The Popular Mobilization Front in Iraq is active.
yeah.
Hezbollah
Yeah.
is active. It might be taking a beating. It's active.
Right.
It's only Hamas. People say no, Hamas is ready to disarm. We don't know what's going
Right.
to happen.
Right.
Okay. In all this and over and above this, the worst case scenario, Egypt is coming to the fray.
Right.
Jordan is coming to the fray in part of the fighting. Saudi Arabia is fighting,
Yeah.
which so far it had avoided. The only country which is avoiding everything is probably UAE and Oman,
Yeah.
believing that every other country is at war.
Right.
And Iran is doing all this. They're doing it cyclically with one each.
Right.
And so I don't see this war finishing.
Right. And
In
the
fact,
war
I
is not
see
finishing because nobody has the capability or the capacity to deploy boots on ground. Right.
no
No boots
and
on the ground means
no
no
boots
decisive
on
victory.
ground. Yes, and USA is not capable today of deploying boots on ground.
Right.
All for only one reason: it has never planned to do so.
Yes.
And right, it never planned to do so. And today it can't. Where will it go with this boots on ground? There are no
Yeah.
targets left.
Yeah.
If USA had taken those islands in the
Yeah.
Strait of Hormuz,
Yeah.
initially, if you remember once we did that. If they had
Yes.
taken that islands,
Yeah.
Abu Musa,
Lara,
Tunji,
Keshim. Yeah.
all those,
Lara, Keshim, Abu Musa,
they could
Greater
have
Tunisia.
taken, right, with the
Yeah.
troops they had. That
Yeah.
was within their capability. Or they should have gone and occupied the southern coast of that Musandam
Right.
Peninsula.
Right.
They didn't. So now that time has passed. Right?
And
So what is it?
so very quickly, why didn't they do it? Like we wargamed it, and you explain how they could do it as a military mind. I mean, I think this came to you. This is something that you've done all your life, right? Planning these kind of strategies. Why did Trump not agree to even capturing those islands, Lara, Keshim, small ones? What did he? Is
Political.
it because he feared
Political.
body bags?
Body
He was
bags.
afraid casualties. That's right.
See, we have to also understand that Trump doesn't have support at home.
Yeah, his ratings are really low.
He
they're in their
didn't
30s.
prepare USA for this war.
Right.
I don't think he prepared his armed forces also for this war. I don't think. I
Right.
mean, I think it's a monumental failure of American planning to get into this war the way they did.
Right.
And it comes back to one thing which I said on the first day, and I still stand by it: selection and maintenance of aim.
Aim.
Has never been there in this war. So if you're not selected your aim and you're not maintained your aim, and you've
Yeah.
been changing every second day,
Yeah.
you don't know what to plan for.
Right.
And I don't know whether any military general in USA said, "Look, boss, don't get into this war. If you have to
Yeah.
do it on a runaway basis. You hit and run, hit and run, hit and run, which will have probably more effect on Iran."
So you're saying
Okay.
that a conventional military is now doing guerrilla tactics because it doesn't have an aim. It's doing these hit and run thing in the hope that something will
We're
collapse. or
hoping.
something.
Now you're hoping. Now you're on hope.
Yeah.
It's not a plan. Hope is not a plan in military.
Right. Right.
So US is stuck. It can't finish this war.
Yeah.
Iran can finish this war at an advantage, but it doesn't want to.
Right.
The others are just playing around. And
Yes.
Iran is very clear that it doesn't want to expand this war into the Caspian. They'll not.
They won't
China will not
retaliate.
come in. China
Yeah.
will not. China will not only will not come in, they cannot come in.
Hmm.
Russia will only give this, drip irrigation kind of a feed to.
Targeting info and those kind of things.
Yeah,
and
they're stuck in their
electronics.
own problem. In fact, Russia
Yeah,
has been
yeah.
hammered in the past 6 months,
Yeah,
much
they
more
can-
than I ever thought.
Yeah, huge losses. But
So
there
you're-
are quick. Yeah.
So you are in a conflict which is not frozen, which is
Yes.
simmering. It will continue to simmer. We are going to have problems in India.
Right.
Okay, many things are going to be on the limb.
Hmm.
But the good thing is that, like I said, this will be an intermittent war.
Right.
Like today, uh, in the Strait of Hormuz, the traffic is still flowing, it's not closed.
Yeah.
Bab al Mandab is normal. But tomorrow it might be different, day after tomorrow it might be different. So there will be something coming out and something this
Right.
thing.
Right.
So overall, you will see this simmer.
Right.
Iran might not. Iran can sustain this war, and with its
Yeah.
losses, USA also can sustain because it's not going to suffer direct losses.
Yes.
So you're going to see the simmering war going on, and we
You
have to
think
be
this will
careful.
this will continue because he has his midterms right in November? Trump. The U.S. economy is very resilient, but I think there are signs of strain. I think uh, first quarter GDP was growing at real GDP in the second quarter was 1.5%. First quarter was 2.1%. So there is a bit of economic worry as well in the US. This tariff and oil price changes are creating supply shocks. So I think the Americans would be a little worried with that. That could impact the election results. We don't know yet. Because if Trump loses the House, he can't lose both. Most likely, he might lose the House. He's going to look at a very hostile Congress on the 3rd of Jan 2027. So that's a big problem for him. But otherwise, the US economy is pretty resilient. They have the ability to absorb enormous shocks, just like the Iranian regime
Yeah, yeah,
is.
yeah. Look, the US economy has not been touched by this war so severely
Yeah.
that it will
No,
collapse or
minor.
something.
It's nothing.
It's a
People who say the US economy will suffer and they do not know how resilient the American economy is. It is the most resilient economy on the planet. And the only other
okay.
economy as resilient as them is probably the Russian economy.
Right. So I don't think because it's got resources. See,
Yes.
the only two countries which are self-sufficient in all resources are
Everything.
Russia and USA.
Russia and the United States. And that's why I keep arguing that these are basically the only two empires that are left standing. I
Yeah.
don't consider the Chinese as an empire because they're so dependent on the rest of the world for everything,
No, no,
for
they don't have
markets and
resources.
for raw
They
materials
lack
and
resources.
energy. And yeah, they don't have it. The Russian Federation and the United States they are two empires literally, completely
Yeah.
self-sufficient. But last question before we move on to our favorite topic or to our neighbor to our west is that if this continues, you're saying that it will be a simmering conflict. It will continue to simmer for the next couple of months, unprecedented. You're looking at it spilling over into 2027. Russia-Ukraine war shows no sign of abating. That's also continuing because both sides believe that they have the advantage. Uh, where is this going to end? I mean, will it end with the collapse of one regime or some kind of, because this cannot continue indefinitely. It will have to have some breaking point. So, what is that
See,
break point going to be?
collapse, if any, will be in Iran.
The regime will collapse, you think?
Could collapse. They might come to a state economically where the people say enough is enough, change. Or it could be people's pressure on in Iran finally because they'll say, yeah,
Right.
how can we live like this? Let's change.
Yeah. Yeah.
That can happen. Otherwise, they can sustain. Iran can sustain. If they are prepared to accept the losses, they'll sustain. And at this point of time, their mentality doesn't seem to be to, you know, go out on a plus.
Right. They
And
want to
you see,
suffer and they want to endure
okay,
pain
I mean, let me
for.
now come to something a little different, but I'll leave this thought. The US Iran, what shall I say, relationship, I've always felt is like India Pakistan relationship over a long distance.
Ah, interesting.
Okay, they're long distance sworn adversaries. They'll never let go. This fight is beyond the normal economics and aim of war and all. Uh, and this is not new. This is from the time when Mossadegh was assassinated.
The
Right?
50s.
Yeah, they hate each other. There's a visceral hate between the two, which will sustain this war. Which so far I don't see anyone have spoken. I mean, this is what I feel. I'd like your view on it, and then we'll probably get on.
Sure. So a very important point there, that there is a visceral hatred that both countries have for each other. It started with Mossadegh, and the Shah of Iran was seen as a puppet, a Western imposed puppet on the Iranian people, and uh, the regime that overthrew him in '79 continues, and it has kind of weaponized that hatred. And I think one of the biggest factors that people miss out in this whole thing is that Shia Islam, I think they have not understood this martyrdom cult in Shia Islam, the thing of suffering and self-sacrifice, where a community that goes to the out on the streets every year, Karbala, celebrating its martyrdom and Ya Ali, Ya Hussein, and all of that. This is exactly what their war is all about. I mean, they have the ability to absorb this kind of punishment, and a regime that has weaponized Shia Islam. That is again going back to that fundamentally tectonic year in the 20th century, 1979, where you had the Iranian Revolution, you had the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, and you had the siege of the Grand Mosque in Makkah. Three tectonic events which still shape global geopolitics almost half a century later. So we're going back to that original thing. So I think that is the fundamental thing. And you're right, actually. I never thought of it. But the US-Iran hatred is something that is, it's beguiling. And it's almost like the Israel-Iran war, in a sense that they have been fighting the longest undeclared war
Between the
in
two of them.
history, almost since '79. They were the best of friends during the Shah's regime, and they became the worst of enemies from '79. And they've been carrying out covert wars, proxy wars, and now last year it burst out into the open for the first time. I mean, imagine two countries 1,000 kilometers apart are attacking each other because they're ideologically opposed. And I think that is this conflict will continue. And interesting point that you made is that Iran is not only the hinge, but it's also the weakest link of this entire equation.
Yes.
Because if it collapses, that's the end of this thing of period of struggle that we're looking at.
Yeah. So there's going to be a thing. So let's prepare for it.
Yeah.
The good thing of this whole story, as far as India is concerned, we're not touched by it, except for oil prices.
Except for the oil prices, and of course our mariners who are sailing in
Yeah,
harm's way.
those are things, but we can take it, right? We've lost
Yes.
a few, unfortunately, and that's the risk we have to take, right? That's how it is. So I think we've done enough of a discussion on this.
Right,
So, right now, let's shift focus to Pakistan.
right.
A lot of things are happening in Pakistan
Yes.
simultaneously. You've seen, POJK has gone up in flames
Yes.
over the past 4 days. The figures there are anything between 30 or 200 people have been shot dead by the security forces.
Right.
In the media, there's a complete ban and blanket, and not a single chap has died. That's the Pakistani media. So POJK is in a ferment, real ferment, a ferment which I've never seen in my life so far. And
I
people
don't
are
think
talking.
there's ever been this kind of violence and state repression
Never.
on POJK.
People are talking of inqilab out there. Now that's dangerous because it was supposed to be Azad Kashmir. Azad Kashmir.
Right. As
From
in free
Azad Kashmir,
Yeah.
it has now become Pak occupied Kashmir by their things. That's the first.
Yeah, Ghulam
stage.
Kashmir.
Ghulam
GK.
GK. And the second, of course, is Balochistan. Everyone says in Balochistan, Pakistan has lost control. Right? There's very little control left. The Chinese have quit that area. The Americans are not going to set their foot there. And things are almost a shut door on Balochistan.
Right.
Barring a formal secession, everything else is over.
Right.
And some
so
control
Azad
over
Balochistan, AB.
Azad. And then Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, there's a triangulation of opposing forces,
Yeah.
all opposing Pakistan. One is the TTP, which is going about its merry ways with Afghanistan.
Right.
There's this Pashtun Tahaffuz movement,
Yeah.
which is fighting its own battle, and that's a completely left wing story. And then you have a government which is of PTI, which is against the central government. All three are acting in their own directions. And
Hmm.
Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is today, I don't know how to describe it. I don't think the Pakistanis also know how to describe it.
Right.
Okay. Now these three are up in flames. Internally, the this chap Asim Munir and Shahbaz
Asim
Sharif
Munir.
are more
Yeah.
interested in settling the problem between USA and Iran, and they are
Right.
seeking a 10 billion, freebie from USA, which USA
Yeah.
is prepared to give them.
Right.
And yesterday, DGISPR went public and waffled something, and there's a huge backlash on that. Internally, also they don't have their funds are all out. They're in a
Yeah.
in a in a
Economy
very
is in a ferment.
in a
Yeah.
bad shape, right? And very interestingly, yesterday, Mohsin Naqvi, who's their information or whatever that minister is, he
Yeah.
says the system is collapsed and it needs a change. And that was also seconded by DGISPR in his 1 hour bhashan which he gave to the press.
Right. Right.
Right. Now the thing is, yes, of course, Pakistan has collapsed, or it's collapsing, or it's breaking up, whichever way you put it, and it needs a change. What is that change
Yeah.
all about? Is that change making Asim Munir the president, and another amendment coming in, 28th amendment, which enables him to become the president and concentrate power, or is it to change the prime minister, get Bulawil Bhutto in and throw Shahbaz Sharif out? Is that the change which is happening? Or will all this backfire on them and the change is that Asim Munir has to find a new place to go? He's thrown out as an internal coup within Pakistan army. He's thrown out and something else happens. Or is the change that the lawyers tomorrow will go into their own thing and say the 27th and the 26th amendments were illegal and the judiciary has to be brought back?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of ferment internally which people don't understand. Or
Right.
finally, will all this blow up and Pakistan split into 4 5 parts?
My
These
God.
are the
Right.
options, and this is the status at this point of time. Your views on this?
Yes, absolutely. No, the thing that jumped out at me was when you said that Asim Munir as president. We've been talking about it for some time now, but what kind of president would that be? Would it be an executive presidency like General Musharraf, where he was not only president of Pakistan from '99 onwards, but also the army chief? And the Americans forced him in 2007 to give up the post of army chief. He had to, wear his civilian uniform, this thing again, civilian clothes. Kayani became the army chief. And Musharraf had little control over the army because in Pakistan, they're a hierarchical organization like ours. The army chief is the boss. You see Munir giving up army chief's post or the chief of defense forces?
I don't see it at all because Munir is still on the up. When all that happened with Parvez Musharraf,
Yeah,
he was in it was on the cards. The lawyers had revolted against him.
yeah, yeah. He
Iftikhar
was weak
Chaudhry was
internally. Yeah,
he was weak internally, and
yeah,
Americans were fed up of him, and people said, yeah, he has to go. His all his forays with the US with India had failed by then,
yeah.
and right, so he had to go, but not now. Today, this chap Asim Munir is the favorite field marshal of Trump because
Right,
this is where the interlap overlap between that war and this internal problem is going to happen. He is the favorite field marshal, and for Trump, he is the only hope to do via media between Iran and USA.
right.
Right, one of the few hopes. So he will need this guy. He has, that $10 billion freebie which Pakistan sought. The
Yeah,
first indications are there that USA will give them something.
right.
Might not be a direct thing. It might be indirect somehow. The USA is receptive to this $10 billion bailout. But $10 billion bailout coming to him will not solve his problem immediately. Maybe in the long run, Pakistan economy might come out. All that will, but it not today. Okay. So, but the fact is that USA needs him. They're giving him a thing. So USA will
Yeah.
not throw him out. USA will back him.
Right.
Okay. Now the flip side is that he is now today disliked by all his provinces. Everyone is saying, I heard Maliha Lodi saying, look, what's the point of doing everything outside when your own house is burning?
When your house is on fire.
Fire. You're going
Yeah.
and doing firefighting somewhere else. You're firefighting the wrong house.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are no solutions. If you heard what DGISPR spoke yesterday, in bits and parts, it's come out in Twitter and in social media. The drift you get out of that is that they are treating it as a law and order problem or an
Yeah.
insurgency problem or something coming from India,
Yeah.
and it's an India instigated thing. And they are talking that the loyal Pakistani is one who's loyal to the constitution,
Hmm.
who's loyal to the land and the constitution. And the constitution is something they have jiggered with already, and they want to jigger. So
Right.
they have remade the constitution to suit Asim Munir, and they want every Pakistani to be loyal to that constitution. So, and they are turning out that we've killed so many terrorists and all that, we are on top of the situation.
Right.
Whereas the situation is not on top of anyone. The situation is on top of itself.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, uh, we have to see. What do you think are the options ahead? Let me ask you this. I've given the
Options
explanation.
for Field Marshal Munir. He's on
I
shaky
wouldn't say
ground,
Field
but
Marshal Munir.
yeah,
I would say for whole of Pakistan.
for whole of Pakistan, General Shankar, I think till the time the Pakistan army is a coherent whole, is a cogent whole, they will somehow manage to hold on to the provinces, right? Whatever. And what you just said at the beginning when you're talking about Pakistan, the coup, if there is a coup inside of Pakistan, the Pakistan army, that is when they start losing control, because then loyalties get divided. If the core commanders or the crore commanders, as they call, start running here and there, that is a recipe for disaster. Because if the army's integrity itself is compromised and it starts infighting, it will not have control over the provinces. I think, to my mind, that would be the first recipe for disaster. If the Pak army starts imploding, right now it doesn't seem to be the case. At least we don't know what's going on inside. But as long as they are united and Munir has control of the Pakistan army, he will go in and he will, administer. He will kill a few hundred civilians and impose some kind of control. But how long can this continue is the question. Like you said, in Azad Kashmir, in so-called Azad Kashmir, which we call Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, if people are talking about inqilab, will they pick up arms? That is my question. Will they start becoming like the BLA, for instance?
It's a matter
And
of
if they start,
time.
yeah, if they do that,
It's a matter
then
of
you're
time.
looking at three
It's a matter of
insurgencies, three
time.
parallel insurgencies. You have the BLA, you have the KPK, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa guys, the TTP, and POK.
Yeah, the point is this. The important thing you have to understand. What I'm trying to put across now is you have three problems which are fundamentally political in nature.
Yes.
Okay, they have to be solved politically. The Pakistan state is approaching them militarily.
Yeah,
That's the first
absolutely.
point. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the point is, who is to if it has to be solved politically, who is that person who will go out and solve it politically?
It has to be a civilian prime minister or
Now that civilian prime minister, if is going to be changed,
yeah,
or if now a minister comes and says the system has collapsed,
yeah,
that means there's no political capability to solve this problem.
right.
If there is no political capability to solve this problem will only get worse.
Yeah,
When I say this problem, I'm talking of all three problems.
right.
Okay, they'll only get worse. So if they get worse and your only response to them is more force, what will break? And you don't have the judiciary with you. You don't have you see. I'll come to something. I'll read some this equation in about Pakistan by a Pakistani author. He says in Pakistan there are the equation is P1 plus P2 plus P3 equals the army plus the judiciary.
Right.
Okay, the E1 is the P1 is party 1, party 2, party 3. That is PP,
PPP,
PTI,
PMLN, yeah, yeah,
and
PTI.
PTI. These three parties equal the judiciary and the army.
Right,
Okay, for the judiciary and the army to be on top, you need one party this side.
right,
So P1 plus P2 is lesser than P3 plus army plus judiciary.
right,
Okay, this is the interesting thing. But the point is now what is the equation today in Pakistan? It is the armed forces plus
yeah,
P1 and P2.
right.
Okay, and on
P3
the
is
other
outside.
hand,
Yeah,
judiciary and P3 are on the other side,
right.
right? If in this one party goes against him, it goes the other side, what will happen to this whole equation?
But what will happen if there's no election? I mean, if he says that there is no, the next elections in Pakistan are
It's
4
not a
years
matter
away,
of
3
election.
years away.
It's
Yeah,
not a matter of election. What if the lawyers start coming on the streets and the judiciary has been sidelined completely in 27th and the
yeah,
26th Amendment, and
yeah,
the people challenge that.
right.
See, one thing which is not there in any of
Yeah,
this is,
yeah,
see, uh, in the 27th and the 26th Amendment, Asim Munir has done one important thing which everyone has to
right.
understand. He has made a court,
Hmm.
a separate court, where it's a constitutional court. So any challenge to the constitution can be done only in that court, not in the
Right,
Supreme Court,
right, right.
not in the Supreme Court. Okay, and in that constitutional court is held by him.
Hmm.
So you can't challenge the constitution directly, but you can challenge the process of this whole thing in the Supreme Court. You don't challenge the constitution, but you challenge the process in the Supreme Court. And if one Supreme Court judge takes cognizance of that and tells everyone whatever is done, this federal court and this 26th Amendment and the 27th Amendment are unconstitutional,
Right.
then the whole thing goes up in flames. And because if it would have not have gone into flames if there were nothing else. But the fact is there are three parallel insurgencies which Musharraf never had.
Yes. Musharraf never, he had, I don't think he had any insurgency. The Baloch had just begun their
No, Baloch
insurgency
insurgency
2007.
was there right from long, but it was
Yeah.
there, and
But
he
he
could
kind of,
manage it.
he triggered it by killing Nawab Bukti. He ordered his,
Okay, yes,
assassination. So I think it had just begun.
begun.
The TTP was nowhere on the horizon. TTP also, incidentally, it began in Musharraf's tenure, but it wasn't the full.
It wasn't like this.
Yeah,
In fact,
full-fledged.
I would say he had collared the TTP.
Yeah.
Yet that उनका एक रेडियो मुल्ला था.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
उसको
That,
I'm
yeah.
forgetting his
But
name.
I think that was the post-Musharraf years. Musharraf
Right.
stepped down in 2008. I think this is post.
No,
This is
when I say look, I'm not talking of Musharraf alone. I'm talking of the Pakistan. They sidelined him and they had collared him
yes, yes.
in that thing called Zarbe Azab or Zarbe Momin.
Zarbe Azab. Yeah, Zarbe Azab one and Azam no.
Whatever it is, one of their exercises, one of their operations,
counter-insurgency operations, massive thing.
Under Kayani it was done.
Kayani,
They got the situation under control there. From there it has gone bad. Now it's gone completely south.
Now it's that's because now they have Afghanistan. Which is anti-Pakistan. They have sanctuaries there.
So and they are at war with Pakistan,
Yeah.
Afghanistan. So you take this outer circle and see the inner
Yeah.
thing which is coming. I see
Yeah.
this on the horizon. I see a
Right.
constitutional crisis in the horizon.
Right. Very important. Mm.
Okay, and internally, economy down internally, public voices coming out. Okay, and all these three going, and they are blaming India.
Right.
So this whole thing, so one outcome you said is okay, there will be what Munir will do. What are the other outcomes you think will happen?
What are the other outcomes that could happen is economic collapse, but then it's their partner countries will not allow that. You have Saudi Arabia, you have the US, of course. They will not allow a collapse of Pakistan because they need Pakistan for
But can you
it's
stop it?
uh, they can shore it up. They can shore up the economy with financial
Look,
support.
the
With
economy can be showed up, and the results will show after 3 months.
yeah,
But today, if there's a constitutional crisis within Pakistan,
yeah,
and if these people are, and the army doesn't relent, and
yeah.
if all of the army stands behind Asim Munir, and they go to war with all these three constituents, then you're looking at a virtual state of civil war.
Civil war, exactly. And you mentioned that how the Pakistan army has a military solution for what is essentially a political
Political
problem.
solution.
So it's there's that saying, when you all you have in your hand is a hammer, then every
You
problem
search for
begins
a
to look
nail,
like a nail.
nail,
Yeah. So
and
the yeah,
all political problems, political solutions of all these have failed.
yes,
Their political solutions have failed already. That's
right.
why they are in the position they are in. I don't know. I have a feeling that Pakistan is in one level on the verge of disintegrating. It can.
Can I take a counter view to this,
Yeah.
which is that while we say Pakistan has many provinces, 4 provinces and all that, but if you look at it, the heartland, that is Punjab, is unaffected. So you have the Pashtuns who are up in arms, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. You have the Baloch who are up in arms, Balochistan. You have the Mirpuris who are afraid, upset in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. But as long as the center holds, which is Pakistan's Punjab province, which is the source of the recruitment for the army and the political base of Nawaz Sharif and the PML and all of that, Pakistan will continue. The Punjabis are okay with it. So what if these Balochis and the Pathans and all that are upset? I'm okay with them. They're at the fringes, but the heartland still holds. So until
Look.
that happens, yeah.
Okay. Let's. Uh, what did you think of India when Kashmir was burning and whole lot of killings and all used to take place
In the
and
late
Northeast
80s and
was
90s, early 90s,
80. Yeah.
I was in school at that time, and I think what my Kashmiri friends, family friends, and all were saying is that it looks like we have lost Kashmir. We will have to retreat south of Kashmir into Jammu. And this was someone whose family was from Kashmir, and he was saying, the exodus of the Pandits had begun. So it was almost as though we had lost Kashmir
Yeah.
because the kind of the jihadism that was injected into Kashmir, we bore the full brunt of the Pakistan deep states Afghan inspired model. Punjab was already in flames, right? You had a raging insurgency in Punjab, and we thought that Punjab was lost. But then I think what we underestimated is the resilience of the Indian state. The Indian state is extremely resilient. There are many of these Maoists, they came up 20 years back. Oh, the Red Corridor, this, that, from Pashupati Nath to Tirupati, and Pashupati to Tirupati, they said Red Corridor. They collapsed, finished. Maoists are gone. Nagas were a problem. Kashmir, you had insurgency externally supported. Punjab is there. I think India is far more resilient than we give credit for. Whereas Pakistan, does it have the same kind of resilience? We've seen it in 71. What happened in 71?
And Pakistan army doesn't have the capability to fight these insurgencies the way Indian army has,
Parallel
combated
insurgencies. Like you were fighting
parallel.
parallel insurgencies in
We
the
were fighting.
80s
See,
and
the point
90s.
is this: we never fought the insurgent.
Yeah,
We fought the insurgency. There's a
right.
difference. The insurgent were two. I mean, I've been in all three. I've been in Punjab, I've been in J&K, and I've been in the Northeast.
Northeast.
We fought the insurgency and the movement. We didn't fight the insurgent because the insurgent, to our way of thinking, my way of thinking, was a misguided youth who didn't know what he was doing
Yes.
actually, right? Of course, if there's a chap who's very violent about it, you took action against him. That we're not going to. That no mollycoddling there, but you always had a door open for those people to come back.
Yeah.
Okay, you always had a door open to the people to carry out, to win their hearts and minds. And it's a long-term project, and you are prepared to, in as Indian Army, we were prepared to fight this battle with one hand tied behind our backs, and many times we fought this battle with both hands tied behind our backs. Right? We said we'll lose. We don't mind letting a terrorist go, but we don't lose your own civilian or your
Yeah.
man. Right? We took a lot of beating for it.
Casualties.
Lot of beating. Okay, we lost a lot. The state sacrificed. Is Pakistan army capable of doing it?
No,
Does
clearly
Pakistan
not.
have it? They are not. They're doing exactly the opposite. They're using. Look, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa they've used air power. In Balochistan they've
Artillery,
used air power.
F-16s,
Artillery, air power.
yeah, yeah, everything. They've hammered entire villages. They've destroyed villages. They've massacred civilians. I mean, this kind of an insurgency. I mean, I've seen the way Sri Lanka fought the last final phase of the civil war with the Tamils. It was extremely brutal.
Yes, yes,
And
I agree
and
with
what?
you.
Yeah,
But can Pakistan do that and get away? The question is, does Pakistan have the capability to do that and get away? It can't. Why it can't? Because it's the opposite is happening. They are buying the casualties.
hmm,
You see, that I couldn't capture those figures which the DGISPR chap gave out. He talks of every day killing 20, 30 terrorists. Every day, as per his statistics, every day they're killing 20 to 30 terrorists, and they're on top of the equation. I've never seen 10 to 20 terrorists in my life in one go. I've
right.
never seen them. Even now, you see operations, 3, 4, 5 terrorists are
Yeah,
killed.
yeah. Or you're suggesting that they are in large numbers, 10 to 10 if they're killing, then they must be up against a force that is 5 times more or 6 times more.
So either I don't think firstly they've killed so many people. I mean, everything, any incident happens, the thing comes out in their media that we've killed 30 terrorists, 40 terrorists. It's all very
Oh, this
fake.
is that joke, no? Tees Maar Khan, where this
No,
fellow says that I'm a
Mark.
Tees Maar Khan. I've killed 30 flies. So,
So they're not doing it. I've not done it. I've been in thick of 3 insurgencies.
yeah.
If you
So these
catch
are
2
figures
or
are exaggerations. They're
exaggerated by a
exaggerated.
huge
Yeah.
margin. Okay, in a operation, if you get about 4, 5 chaps, it's a big thing. It's difficult. Okay. And it can't be different in Pakistan, even if you use artillery. And how many people we have lost in that bargain? These people have lost no one in a fight.
Hmm.
You see, in a fight, if there's a firefight between militants and forces, both sides will suffer casualties.
Yes.
How many people have we lost? And you said, oh, he's so and so, and they've become heroes in our lexicon, and all that. Um, have you seen even one such event in Pakistan?
No.
No, except the fact that they've killed 40 people, 50 people. If they're killing 40, 50 people in a night, there's a lot of firefighting going on. And if firefighting goes on, you will take casualties. But they are losing casualties in on ambushes, suicide attacks, IEDs, and sporadic ambushes and things like that. And they're not able to do anything. So they are incompetent to do anything. So if
Yeah.
they are incompetent to do anything, and the Pakistan army can do very little, right? And that's why the Chinese have also run away from there.
Hmm.
Then what? What happens to Pakistan? Will it continue in this limbo? Will it break up? Will Asim Munir be changed? Will Asim Munir just control Punjab and be happy about it? These are the outcomes which we have to look at.
Right. Absolutely. So, and like you've been discussing in the past, I think all options must be war gamed for what implications they could have for us here in
Yeah, yeah.
India. Whether, for instance, we've discussed this in the past, will Pakistan try to provoke a war with India to get some kind of unity back home? But then that war would be very disastrous to Pakistan, I guess. The military will take a heavy beating. So
Yeah.
with that, uh, yes, continue, Jan Shankar. Sorry.
No. I go with you. Also, a question with us is, what do you do with POK?
Yes.
Your situation here. How are you going to respond? I think we have to war game that.
As we've discussed in the past, we have to
Yeah.
prepare contingencies, war game it, prepare for every contingency, what to do in plan A, plan B, plan C, all of that.
Yep. So I thought we've had a terrific discussion. Should we take a few questions and then,
Absolutely. Yes, Jan Shankar.
right? Okay. Oh, yeah. Civil war predicted long back. Now Pakistan army is not able to control it. It will split. Your views?
That's what I was saying as well. If the Pak army splits, if there is a breakdown like the sledgehammer which they're using to hammer the insurgencies, if the hammer itself breaks, there's going to be a serious problem, and that will actually lead to catastrophic consequences. But so far, the Pak army doesn't seem to have broken down. They're fairly united, it looks like. But a civil war will mean, certain. It will have to be a far bigger situation than what it is now. It's right now. It's simmering. There are explosions and this stuff, but they believe they can control the situation. But who knows how
Okay.
long they can hold it out for?
If Asim Munir is thrown, then we should be ready with that. Who will replace him? Will we have a say in it at all? That's a question. But
Yeah.
take a shot at the whole thing.
I think
Right?
we don't know who's going to replace him. That's the thing of Pakistan. But one replaced by another.
Okay. There's another nice comment. Sushant Shareen has said that whenever any Pakistani dictator feels that he is the most powerful, nobody can go against him, he is thrown out. Asim Munir is following that line. What your view on this?
Yeah, so my view is that every Pakistani dictator who comes thinks that he is God's answer to Pakistan's problems. And he leaves Pakistan in a worse situation than he's taken when it was when he took over. Like Ayub left the country in economic ruin. Yahya Khan left it half of what it was in before 71. Ziaul Haq Islamized the country, injected so much of venom into it, created terrorism, nuclear weapons enabled terrorism, died in a blast, gone. Musharraf, this entire thing of insurgency, war with India, Kargil, died lonely in exile. Like you should see his last photographs, literally, on his deathbed, rotting. All these dictators have died horrible lives, lonely, ignored. No one dictator has lived. Show me one dictator who's lived a life of great prosperity and all in Pakistan. Asim Munir, the circumstances are against him. The odds are heavily stacked against him. He cannot live a life that he thinks he can after retirement. He's going to have a very rough life, and the kind of enemies that he's made and all of that. So that's what, when you use a hammer against your people, that hammer will come to haunt you as well.
Right. Next question. Good morning, sirs. What possible action might Munni take against India to divert attention if he faces resistance within their armed forces? Seems a lot of grumbling, and Munni is scared of corps commanders. Yeah.
Well, action against India will be very damaging to Pakistan. It might strengthen his position, but it will, hurt the military even more than it happened in Op Sindoor. The Pak army has not recouped its losses that it's incurred. It's not replaced its radars and all that. It's only begun patching up its air bases. What he will look at is possibly bringing the United States on his side against India. And, my favorite field marshal who is negotiating this peace deal in Iran is being attacked by India. India is therefore acting against our interests. He could try and push that line with Trump. So my sense is that he will not go for military action. He might try and use political pressure on India, uh, whatever he does.
Right. Yeah, there's a comment. Khomeini discarded his Paris assurances, branded United States the Great Saturn, and endorsed the November 1979 U.S. embassy hostage crisis. Yeah, we know that. See,
Yeah, yeah. This
that's
is all
exactly
history.
what.
Yes, yes.
Right. Um. Okay. Let me see if there's any other question. Yeah, Pakistan serves an important purpose in the sense that every quarter it needs 10 billion to run its affairs and square its books. As the US dominance wanes, Pak insurgency should increase. Your view?
Yes, yes, absolutely. This is the same playbook that Musharraf adopted. He was fighting the Afghan, he was the frontline ally in the war against the Taliban in Afghanistan, supporting the Taliban uh, and needling India through terror attacks.
Okay. With regards to Pakistan, Chabahar, Afghanistan, Armenia, what is the best way this conflict must conclude? Please describe our order of priorities.
Well, for India to progress, we need a quiet environment because our goal is, if you look at it, Viksit Bharat 20 years, you need peace, prosperity, you need to continue to grow at the rates at which we are 6, 7, 8% growth. And for that, you need a peaceful environment. The order of things that you mentioned, Chabar is important to us because it allows us to connect Afghanistan. You have the INSTC, the International North-South Transit Corridor, all of that, the Mumbai to Moscow links. You want your IMEC, the corridor to Europe through Israel to go through. But for Pakistan, is exactly the opposite. It needs conflict to keep running its rentier state. So our two economic models are completely different. The Indian
Different.
model is premised on peace and stability and investment and growth. Pakistan's model is the army-run rentier state model, which needs conflict to thrive, where the army itself is a business, where the collateral is the security duties, and it borrows against that collateral. That's the Pakistan state.
Right. Over 220 people killed in POJK, and yet the Western media is silent. I guess friendship with America has its perks. Yeah, that's a strange thing, actually. The Western media is completely quiet on what's happening in
Yes.
Pakistan.
As it was in 71 when
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Bengalis were being massacred in East Pakistan. Like hundreds of thousands of Bengalis were massacred. There was a genocide that was on. But the US kept silent because they needed Pakistan to be the go-between to China.
Yeah, let me see if there's any other interesting question. Okay. I think we've virtually done come to the end. And Srinivas Mantipragada, thanks for becoming a YouTube member. And Ashish Hegde, thanks for your contribution. Uh, Let me see if there's anything in the end which is coming up. Um, yeah, last question. Sir, won't further destabilizing Pakistan risk terrorists obtaining a few nuclear weapons? Should the world be concerned and united on the issue of Baluch?
Look, this thing of this canard of terrorists getting nuclear weapons is being one that has been floated by the Pakistan army. And I can assure you that the Pakistan army will not will not break up or give its weapons to terrorists unless it wants it to. Right? That's the most dangerous aspect. This is an extremely double dealing military that has actually sold weapons, nuclear weapons technology to Libya, to Iran, and North Korea. No country in history has trafficked nuclear weapons like the Pakistan army. So if terrorists get it, it will not be because Pakistan is destabilized or it's collapsed. It is because the
Because the army wants
Pakistan
it.
army will hand it over to the terrorists and will use it to get money for itself. That is the sum and substance of what we are dealing with.
Yeah, I think that's a very important thing you said. If the Pakistan army wants to use a backpack terrorist, it will.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
It's quite capable of doing that.
capable, and that's the danger we face.
Yes,
Nothing else. And we face in this current situation, India faces the biggest danger from a backpack terrorist from Pakistan,
right.
right? And I will. It might not be a backpack terrorist. It might be a small device which can come
Yes,
through n number of channels. So that's the
yes,
thing, and that's one way of diverting the whole thing. If push comes to shove, and things go really bad in Pakistan as a result of what is happening, that's a problem. We'll see where how it goes.
right.
Okay. And Ishan, thanks a lot for your contribution. And Tara also thanks a lot for your contribution. And I think we have generally finished with whatever we wanted to speak about. So, any your final comments, and then we'll close it.
Well, absolutely. So, fascinating discussion as always, General Shankar. We looked at the intersecting arcs of conflict in West Asia, Iran US conflict intersecting with the Russia Ukraine war, and we looked at the dynamics in play and whether this will expand. It seems unlikely as of now. This conflict will continue to simmer without any clear end in sight because you're looking at a very resilient Iranian regime. You're looking at a US which can afford to do this indefinitely, continue to hammer the Iranians in the hope that Iran will collapse, will give up control over the Hormuz, and thereby lead to an end state for the United States where it achieves a certain number of its war objectives. And of course, we moved on to the Pakistan question in our neighborhood, where again, Pakistan is consumed by the fires of insurgency within, and it continues to try and play mediator externally in the hopes of getting some uh, bhatta and some rent for its uh,
Hmm.
peacemaking capabilities. So that is the kind of conundrum that we face, and India is of course uh, insulated from all of this. And the only worry for us is, of course, the oil shock, the larger impact on the global economy, which could impact our economy in many ways. We need peace, stability, as I mentioned, for the Indian economy to continue to grow. And high oil prices are actually a big worry for us in that sense. The higher oil price climbs to 90, 100, and that, the more we have to pay for our imports. But the flip side is, of course, it will accelerate our movement to other sources of energy. And with that, I think we've come to the end of this fascinating discussion. General Shankar, I want to thank you again for taking time out. And to all our viewers who are watching us, thank you for your support. Please continue to like, share, subscribe to Gunners Shot and Chakra News, and do keep coming back to our uh, weekly update of the events of the week. We do this every 9 a.m. Indian Standard Time every Saturday morning.
Thanks a lot, and have a great day. Jai Hind to all of you.
Jai Hind.